Welcome back, everybody. We've got a really interesting collection of stuff to go through today.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be covering a lot of ground.
We've got cannabis cultivation. We've got ketamine. We've got DMT.
Right.
We even have some stuff on strategy and philosophy.
It's quite the mix.
It is.
But I think there are some really fascinating connections waiting to be uncovered.
I think so, too. And I'm really curious to see where this deep dive takes us. Maybe we should start with something a little bit more down to earth.
Sure.
We've got the Cannabis Grow Bible here. Have you ever looked through this?
I've definitely seen it around, but haven't had a chance to really dig in.
Well, it's pretty amazing, I've got to say. It's incredibly detailed. It covers everything from, soil and lighting,
Right.
all the way to some pretty advanced techniques.
Like what?
Well, there's a whole section on maximizing THC content.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and, THC is that primary psychoactive compound in cannabis. Yeah.
Right. So this is for people who really want to get the most out of their plants.
Exactly. They even get into things like guerrilla growing.
Guerrilla growing. Now, that's something I haven't heard of.
Well, it's basically about concealing cannabis plants among other vegetation. So, hiding them in plain sight.
Ah, I see. So it's a way of kind of flying under the radar.
Exactly. And the book doesn't shy away from the complexities of cultivation either.
How so?
It even touches on the legal and social sensitivities surrounding cannabis.
Which makes sense given the varying legal landscape surrounding cannabis cultivation.
Right. But there's also a strong sense of self-sufficiency in it, like, empowering people to grow their own.
I can definitely see that. There's something appealing about being able to provide for yourself, being independent.
Definitely. And the book goes into a lot of detail about manipulating light cycles and controlling the sex of the plants to really increase that potency.
So it's not just about growing, it's about optimizing, right? Getting the most potent product possible.
Exactly. And that focus on potency, I think it speaks to a deeper desire. It's not just about cultivating cannabis, it's about cultivating specific experiences, really exploring the potential of this plant.
To alter consciousness.
Right. And that brings us to some of the other materials we have here today, like the K-Dreams accounts. Have you had a chance to look at those?
I have, and I have to say, some of those stories are pretty wild.
They are. I mean, some people describe these incredibly intense experiences. Some even say it feels like they're having a near-death experience.
Yeah, those accounts are really something. And what's interesting is that even though these experiences are induced by different substances...
Ketamine and DMT.
Right, ketamine and DMT. They often share some common themes, like a sense of leaving the body or encountering beings from other realms.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, are these just hallucinations, or are they glimpses into something beyond our normal perception?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
I mean, think about the DMT experiences. People talk about encountering entities or going to other dimensions. It's pretty mind-blowing.
And that's where I think Slahar's grand illusion comes in. He argues that our perception of reality is basically a construct of our brains. Like a grand illusion that filters and interprets information.
So he's saying that what we perceive as reality might not be the whole picture.
Exactly. And he even suggests that psychedelics like DMT might offer glimpses into the underlying structure of consciousness. He believes it's spatially structured.
Spatially structured.
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept. It's like our consciousness isn't just this formless thing, but it has a kind of shape or structure to it. And maybe, just maybe, these substances allow us to perceive that structure more directly.
It's a pretty bold idea.
It is, and he admits it's faced a lot of resistance from the scientific community, but I think it raises some really important questions about how much we really understand about consciousness.
And whether we're even open to exploring these unconventional ideas.
Exactly. Are we willing to challenge our assumptions about what's real and what's possible?
Especially when it comes to these experiences that challenge our conventional worldview.
Right. And speaking of challenging conventions, you also included the 33 strategies of war.
Yeah, it seems a bit out of place at first, I know.
But I think there's a connection there. Think about it. The pursuit of knowledge, especially in realms like consciousness exploration, can be seen as a strategic endeavor. We're navigating unknown territory, we're facing potential challenges, and we're seeking insights that we can apply to our lives.
So you're saying there might be parallels between the strategies outlined in this book and the strategies we might use to navigate these altered states or even the pursuit of self-knowledge?
Absolutely. Take the principle of create a sense of urgency and desperation. In the context of personal growth, it could mean recognizing the need for change, for breaking free from limiting beliefs and patterns.
Creating that sense of urgency that pushes us forward on our journey of self-discovery.
Exactly. And it's that sense of urgency that often comes when we start questioning the nature of reality itself, when we start to see the limitations of our everyday perception.
Yeah, it's like we're on this expedition into uncharted territory, right? We've got our tools of strategy, our thirst for knowledge. But like any expedition, there are risks involved.
Yeah.
You mentioned those challenging experiences with ketamine and DMT in K-dreams.
Right.
What are some of those potential pitfalls we should be aware of when we're venturing into these realms?
Well, one of the biggest risks is having what's often called a bad trip.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It can involve intense anxiety, paranoia, even a sense of losing control.
That sounds pretty scary.
It can be. And it's important to remember that these substances, they can affect people so differently.
Right.
Even the same person might have completely different experiences depending on their mindset, their environment, all sorts of factors.
So it's not just about the substance itself, but the context in which it's used.
Exactly. That's where the concept of set and setting comes in.
Set and setting.
Yeah. Set refers to your mental state going into the experience.
Yeah.
So your expectations, your intentions, any emotional baggage you might be carrying.
Right.
And setting refers to the physical and social environment. So the place where you're having the experience, the people you're with, the overall atmosphere.
It makes sense. Both of those things would have a huge impact on how the experience unfolds.
Absolutely. It's like the difference between going on a hike, with a clear head, feeling adventurous,
right,
versus going on that same hike feeling anxious and unprepared.
The terrain might be the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the experience.
Completely different.
Right. So it's crucial to approach these explorations with caution, with respect, and with a good understanding of the potential risks.
Makes sense. It's not something to just jump into lightly.
Not at all. And having a supportive environment is really important too. Ideally, an experienced guide who can help you navigate any challenges that come up.
Right. Someone who's been there before.
Exactly. But it's not all about avoiding negative experiences. There are potential benefits to these explorations as well.
Of course. What are some of the positive outcomes that people have reported?
Well, many people report having profound insights into themselves, their relationships, the nature of reality. They might experience a sense of interconnectedness, increased empathy, a newfound appreciation for the beauty and mystery of existence.
Wow, that's powerful stuff.
It can be. And these experiences can be deeply transformative. They can lead to positive changes in values, behaviors, overall well-being.
It's like these altered states can give us a different perspective, a way of seeing beyond the limitations of our everyday awareness.
Exactly. And for some people, these experiences can be deeply spiritual or mystical, leading to a sense of awe, wonder, a connection to something larger than themselves.
That resonates with some of the accounts in K-dreams, where people describe feeling like they got a glimpse into the afterlife or a deeper understanding of consciousness.
Right.
It's fascinating, but also a bit daunting to think about how to integrate these experiences back into everyday life.
That's one of the key challenges. These experiences can be so profound, so far removed from our ordinary reality, that it can be hard to put them into words or even make sense of them in the context of our daily lives.
It's like you've climbed to the top of a mountain and have this incredible view, but then you have to come back down and figure out how to describe that view to someone who's never been there.
Exactly. And that's where the integration process comes in. It's about finding ways to ground those insights, to translate them into actionable wisdom that can inform our choices, our relationships, our overall approach to life.
So it's not just about having the experience, but about what we do with it afterwards.
Right. It's about making it meaningful and bringing it back into our lives.
That brings us back to the idea of strategy. Are there specific strategies we can use to integrate these experiences and really maximize their potential benefits?
Definitely. One strategy is journaling. Writing down your experiences, your thoughts and feelings can help you process them and make sense of what you went through.
That's a good idea. I've also heard that having a supportive community could be really helpful.
Absolutely. Sharing your experiences with others who have been through similar journeys can help you feel less alone, less isolated. It can provide validation and encouragement as you go through that integration process.
Right. It's like having a group of fellow explorers to share stories and support each other.
Exactly.
It seems like this whole process of exploring consciousness, whether through altered states or other means, is as much about the journey itself as it is about the destination.
It is. It's about the exploration, the discovery, the growth.
And that journey like any worthwhile adventure, is going to have its challenges and rewards.
Of course.
It requires courage, humility, and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
Definitely. But the potential for growth, insight, transformation, it's immense.
We've talked about the potential risks and benefits of these explorations, but there's also the societal stigma surrounding altered states of consciousness.
Right.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how that stigma impacts individuals and how we might move towards a more open and accepting understanding of these experiences.
Well, that stigma is deeply rooted in cultural and historical biases, often fueled by misinformation and fear. It can prevent people from seeking help when they need it, from sharing their experiences openly, from accessing the potential benefits of these explorations.
It can also stifle scientific research and limit our understanding of the human mind.
Exactly. It's like we're turning our backs on a whole dimension of human experience simply because it doesn't fit into our preconceived notions of what's acceptable or normal.
Right. We're afraid of what we don't understand.
And that fear keeps us from exploring something that could be incredibly valuable.
It seems like we're at a crossroads.
Yeah.
On the one hand, there's growing interest in the therapeutic potential of psychedelics. More people are openly sharing their experiences.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's still a lot of fear and misunderstanding.
There is. It's a real tension.
Do you think we're headed towards a more enlightened understanding of altered states of consciousness? Or are we still stuck in the shadows of prohibition and stigma?
I think we're witnessing a shift, a gradual awakening to the potential of these experiences. But it's going to require continued education, open dialogue, a willingness to challenge deeply ingrained beliefs and assumptions.
We need to move beyond the fear-based narratives.
We do.
And embrace a more nuanced, evidence-based approach.
Exactly.
This has been a really insightful conversation. We've covered so much ground, from the potential risks and benefits of altered states to the importance of setting the challenges of integration and the societal stigma surrounding these experiences.
It's been a fascinating exploration.
It has. Now I'm really eager to hear your insights on how the new mission of art connects to everything we've discussed so far.
Delville's perspective on art adds a fascinating layer to our exploration. Let's delve into that in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've talked about growing cannabis. We've delved into these mind-altering experiences. Now we've got the new mission of art. How does this fit into everything we've been discussing?
Well, Delville's perspective on art is really fascinating, especially in light of what we've been exploring. He saw art as this bridge between the material world and the spiritual realm.
So like a way of expressing something deeper than just what we see on the surface.
Exactly. He believed that true art shouldn't just imitate nature, but transcend it, embody a higher ideal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He talks about this threefold love of life, love of the ideal, and love of God.
Right.
It's a pretty lofty vision. But I can see how it connects to those feelings of awe and interconnectedness that people often describe in altered states.
Yeah, think about those accounts in K-Dreams. People talking about encountering otherworldly beings or gaining these profound insights into the nature of reality.
Right.
These experiences can really shift your perspective, open up new ways of seeing and understanding the world.
It's not hard to imagine how that kind of shift could inspire artists to create works that embody Delville's vision.
Definitely. It's like those altered states give you a glimpse into a realm of experience that's normally hidden. And art becomes a way of translating that experience into something others can connect with.
Even if they haven't had that same direct encounter.
Exactly. And it's not just about visual art either. Music, poetry, dance, anything that can express those deep emotions and perceptions.
So Delville's saying that the imagination is key to perceiving beauty.
Yes. He suggests that beauty isn't just objectively out there, but something we co-create through our perception.
That makes me think about Slohar's idea that our perception of reality is this grand illusion constructed by our brains.
Oh, absolutely.
If our reality is a construct, then maybe art is a way of consciously shaping and reshaping it.
I like that, exploring different possibilities, different perspectives.
Delville saw art as a force for change, something that could elevate humanity and inspire us to strive for something better.
Yes, he did.
Maybe these altered states, by expanding our awareness and challenging our assumptions, can help us tap into that creative potential.
That power to shape our reality through art.
It's almost like those altered states provide the raw materials, the expanded perceptions, the profound insights, and then art becomes the tool for crafting those materials into something meaningful.
Something that can communicate those experiences and inspire others.
The artist becomes a kind of bridge builder, connecting the ordinary and the extraordinary.
Exactly. Remember, Delville believed that art shouldn't just reflect reality, but should conquer it, transform it into something more beautiful.
Wow. This has been an incredible journey.
It really has.
We've explored so much. Growing cannabis, the implications of altered states, the power of art. It feels like we've only scratched the surface, but it's given me a lot to think about.
That's the beauty of exploration, isn't it? It's not about finding all the answers. It's about asking the right questions, expanding our horizons, embracing the mystery.
Well said. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep creating.